It sure looks like Horowitz is part of the deep state, doesn't it? I mean, this IG report, what it leaves out is stunning. There are omissions here that just pop out at you and make you think, if I was investigating, I would certainly ask this question or want to know this, and they're not there at all. And I'll give you an example of that. Just something that I found from the middle content of the IG report. And I'll show you that now.
The letterhead memorandum stated that the FBI was limited in its intrusion analysis due to the FBI's inability to recover all server equipment and the lack of complete server data for the relevant time period.
Well, let's stop right there. The FBI's inability to recover all server equipment? The FBI failed in some way? No, that isn't what happened. Hillary smashed the hell out of her Blackberries on computers and got rid of SIM cards and made whole computers disappear. It's not the FBI's inability. Hillary was very proactive in making sure the FBI didn't get the evidence. Let's continue.
According to the letterhead memorandum, the FBI also identified vulnerabilities in Clinton's server systems and found that there had been numerous unsuccessful attempts by potential malicious actors to exploit those vulnerabilities.
Why would we care about the unsuccessful attempts? Why do they even mention it? I think all we're worried about is successful attempts. So one has to wonder why they added that sentence.
Nonetheless, the FBI forensics agent told the Office of the Inspector General that, although he did not believe there was any way of determining 100% whether Clinton's servers had been compromised, he felt fairly confident that there was not an intrusion.
Notice that they're repeating themselves. There were unsuccessful attempts, but there's a very small chance that there may have been a successful attempt. Why do we care about the unsuccessful attempts? Why are they wasting our time? When
asked whether a sophisticated foreign adversary was likely to be able to cover its tracks, he stated, "They could. Yeah. But I felt as if we coordinated with the right units at headquarters for those specific adversaries, and the information that was returned back to me was that there was no indication of a compromise."
And that section ends right there. Do you notice what's missing here? Look at the first sentence. I'll reread it. The letterhead memorandum stated that the FBI was limited in its intrusion analysis due to the FBI's inability to recover all server equipment and the lack of complete server data for the relevant time period. Notice that the end of the paragraph omits this very important point, that we don't know whether Clinton's servers or computers, laptops, Blackberries, mobile devices that she destroyed or bleached bitted were compromised. They could have been compromised. Why didn't they say this to wind up this paragraph? That we have no idea whether she was compromised. In the middle of the paragraph, they said there isn't any way of determining 100% whether Clinton's servers had been compromised. Well, this may be true of the servers that they could look at, but there was a lot that they couldn't see, and they could have been compromised, and that might be the reason they were destroyed. Why didn't Horowitz mention this? I think the reason that Horowitz didn't mention this is clear. He's part of the deep state, and he's part of the cover-up.
Do you think that any laws were broken by Hillary Clinton or her lawyers?
I don't think there's evidence to establish that.
Okay. Well, I think you're making my point when you say there's no evidence to establish that. I just want to make sure the record's clear about the evidence that you didn't have, that you can't use to prove. So this comes from the FBI's own report. It says that the FBI didn't have the Clintons' personal Apple server used for Hillary Clinton work emails. That was never located, so the FBI could never examine it. An Apple MacBook laptop and thumb drive that contained Hillary Clinton's email archives was lost, so the FBI never examined that. 2 BlackBerry devices, provided the FBI didn't have SIM cards or SD data cards. 13 Hillary Clinton personal mobile devices were lost, discarded, or destroyed with a hammer, so the FBI clearly didn't examine those. Various server backups were deleted over time, so the FBI didn't examine that. After the State Department and my colleague Mr. Gowdy here notified Ms. Clinton that her records would be sought by the Benghazi Committee, copies of her emails on the laptops of both of her lawyers, Cheryl Mills and Heather Samuelson, were wiped clean with bleach bits, so the FBI didn't review that. After those emails were subpoenaed, Hillary Clinton's email archive was also permanently deleted from the Platte River Network with bleach bit, so the FBI didn't review that. And also after the subpoena, backups of the Platte River server were manually deleted. Now, Director, hopefully that list is substantially accurate because it comes from your own documents. My question to you is this. Any one of those in that very, very long list, to me, says obstruction of justice. Collectively, they scream obstruction of justice. And to ignore them, I think, really allows not just reasonable prosecutors, but reasonable people to believe that maybe the decision on this was made a long time ago not to prosecute Hillary Clinton. And with that, I yield back.
Director, do you care to respond?
Very briefly, to ignore that which we don't have, we're in a fact-based world, so we make evaluations based on the evidence we're able to gather using the tools that we have. So it's hard for me to react to these things that you don't have. So that's my reaction to it.
Seems to me like Horowitz and Comey came to the same conclusion. That is, Hillary Clinton destroyed a whole shitload of evidence, but from what evidence was left for us to inspect, we can't be absolutely certain our national secrets weren't compromised. In fact, we conclude that there was no indication of a compromise. Strange conclusion, but this is what James Comey and I.G. Horowitz want us to believe. This is BS.